Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has appeared in Istanbul airport surrounded by hundreds of supporters after an attempt to bring down the government. At a hastily arranged press conference, he said that those responsible will pay a heavy price. He said the coup attempt was carried out by a minority of the army. And in the last 10 minutes, the prosecutor's office in Turkey says that at least 42 people have been killed in the capital, Ankara, during the coup attempt, most of them civilians. The state news agency reported that 17 police officers died in an attack on the headquarters of special forces, and hundreds of people have been on the streets in both cities. Simon Clemenson has more.
An address to the nation, but there is someone missing here, the president. A military group claimed it was now running Turkey.
The government, including the president, is in treason and has diminished all basic rights and liberties. The secular democracy, which is based on the separation of powers, has been annulled.
Cue the battle on the streets. An army takeover was unexpected and unwanted by some, and so a standoff, man versus tank. Sometimes winning. Elsewhere, demonstrators take cover. The President, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, remains on the scene, urging the population to come out against the apparent seize of power. He says he'll overcome what he describes as an uprising by a minority. The identities of those said to have taken charge are not clear, nor the amount of support they have. The Prime Minister denied a coup was taking place and later said he thought the problems were largely under control as the President, who is directly elected but has enemies, touched down in Istanbul. Surrounded by supporters, Mr. Erdogan called events in the country overnight an act of treason. Turkey has a history of coup attempts, and while these scenes may appear chaotic, some observers see them as well orchestrated. Simon Clemenson, BBC News.
Well, as we heard there, Turkey does have a history of coups, and the military has overthrown 4 civilian governments. However, up until recently, it wasn't seen as having that same power anymore. So how did we get to where we are today? Laura Westbrook explains.
The army has regularly intervened in modern Turkish history. The military has long seen itself as the guardian of Turkish democracy. When it's intervened, they say it's been to secure secular democracy in Turkey. The first coup took place in 1960, followed by coups in 1971, 1980 and 1997. The man at the centre of this coup is Recep Tayyip Erdogan. He spent 11 years as Turkey's Prime Minister before becoming the country's first directly elected president in 2014. But Mr. Erdogan has created enemies and angered the military. He was believed to be the target of an attempted coup in 2003. Hundreds of officers, journalists and lawyers were found guilty of plotting to overthrow the party leader, though many of the convictions were recently overturned. President Erdogan has also been accused of suppressing journalistic freedom. Newspapers have been closed down, journalists jailed, artists and intellectuals prosecuted. With the war in Syria spilling over into Turkey, security has been a key concern. There have been 14 major terrorist attacks in Turkey this year alone. 42 people were killed in the latest attack at Istanbul airport. That might have been the last straw. But the AK party enjoys a fierce and loyal support amongst Turkey's conservative Muslim base. President Erdogan urged people to take to the streets in show of support for the government. With Turkey being a key NATO member, the idea of an unstable country when so much of the Middle East is in turmoil will be of great concern to leaders around the world. Laura Westbrook, BBC News.
Well, we are now hearing on a Reuters news agency, just the one news agency at the moment, that Istanbul airport is under control of soldiers loyal to the government. That's according to Turkish officials, says Reuters news agency. We'll keep you up to date as we get lines on that. Well, the BBC